How much has my Bitcoin mining farm earned over the last week? A lot of people talk it, I live it. On the VoskCoin YouTube channel, we've been focusing on documenting the building of my cryptocurrency mining farm with the key backbone of BTC mining. Today, we're just crunching the numbers. How much money can you make mining Bitcoin? I've recently been doing a lot of testing with the Brains firmware. I have synced 18 Bitcoin miners up to their mining pool, and that's what all the data we are going to decipher today is based off of. You may see 19 here, and that's true. There's 19 on the pool now because I just put this 19th one on within the last 24 hours. I'm not using that data. So taking my 7-day average here of about 0.00505 BTC. It's all documented here on chain, third-party data, real-world mining profitability. We're gonna get right to the numbers, and you can actually peep it right down there. 0.00505 Bitcoin, or it would have been cooler to say that in the Satoshi quantity, equates to about $175 per day. I have 18 mining rigs. And let's just take the average because there's a lot of variance across these different miners. Bam, $9.72 per miner. That's how much I'm earning. And if you take the numbers for 175, I don't know why I just keep it on screen, 175 times 7 is $1,225. I am earning $1,225 a week right now with Bitcoin mining. 52 weeks in a year, I'm earning 64 grand, but nothing stays the same in cryptocurrency. Next year, this could turn out to be $600,000 a year or $6,000. And let's not forget, I have an associated electricity bill with all of this. So while you may see 64 grand, if I drop 64 grand in electricity, I'm doing a whole lot of everything for a whole lot of nothing. There's that. So let's bring it back to the machines and kind of like, how did I get here and how am I doing this, right? So I'm running a bunch of different Bitcoin miners. I need to clean up all these miners and the labeling and stuff, but that's on the to-do list for some time before the end of the year. You know, I keep it vague. It's a little less stressful that way. So you see I've got miners from an S19 XP to a lot of S19J Pros, 104 terahash models. We had gotten a few of those previously, and then another local miner was quitting. We purchased 10 miners from him at 1,000 each. That was just a very climactic day, and Alexa's like, what have you done? You come home with 10 Bitcoin miners. I wish you loved me as much as you love Bitcoin miners. And I'm like, me too. Just kidding. But in all seriousness, right, you see all my miners, these are all basically current generation miners, S19s, most of them do around 100 terahash a second, a few little bit lower, like the 90 terahash a second, which is a pretty cool model, and we're going to mess with overclocking that and changing the control board and things like that soon, the firmware. There's an Avalon miner in here, a 1346, that miner's okay. But actually, my most recent miner addition and my favorite miner is the S19K Pro 120 terahash a second version. This is basically, it's very similar to an Antminer S19 XP, but for a fraction of the price. We did get ours from ASIC Marketplace, and they now have two models of it. Basically for $2 grand, you can get the S19K Pro, 120 terahash a second, or the 115 terahash a second at $1,900. So essentially most of my miners have a current street value of like $1,000 to $3,000 on the Bitcoin mining front. Oh, shameless plug, right? We got an affiliate link. You can save some coin by punching in the code VoskCoin, all that stuff. If you're gonna buy or mine Bitcoin, then you better custody it yourself. That's where Trust Wallet comes in. Not only did they make today's video possible, but they give you the ability to become your own custodian, utilizing their app, which is available on iOS and that Google Store thing. They even have a dark theme. The UI was recently updated to include some new colors. I think it's looking pretty sharp. If you don't want to use a mobile app, they even have a new desktop extension. By using Trust Wallet, you can maintain control, or the private keys, of your Bitcoin and so many other cryptocurrencies and tokens that they support in their app. Learn more with the link out in the video description below. The elephant in the room when it comes to the whole Bitcoin mining operation is going to be the Bitcoin halving. The calculator has adjusted, we're looking at like 196 days right now. But TLDR, the amount of Bitcoins, quantity Bitcoin, right, will be cut in half on the halving. That's what the halving is. Bitcoin has gone up in price over the last 7 days, 21%. This is having a huge impact on daily profitability. $29 million of new coins mined in the last 24 hours. This is, it's a big boon to Bitcoin mining operations. And that's why, in my opinion, it's time to build. And I'm not just preaching that here on YouTube, but with the VoskCoin mining farm side of everything we do, I'm quite literally putting my money where my mouth is. It's a big endeavor building out a mining farm. It takes a lot of time, a lot of planning, working through a lot of bugs. We've hit a lot of hurdles with the mining farm build out over the last year, but we continue to just, plunge further and further. Maybe plunge wasn't the best word. But a key thing about how I operate my Bitcoin mining operation, which is essentially doubling down, all the Bitcoin I am mining, I'm hodling. I'm not selling a Bitcoin sub 20 grand. I'm not selling a Bitcoin sub 30 grand. I got grander dreams, a bigger vision than that. And ultimately, I want to be sitting in a lot more Bitcoins than I do dirty fiat dollars to begin with. Let's say you had 100 Bitcoin 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 3 years ago, compared to now, and you contrast that with the US dollar 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. The buying power for Bitcoin is dramatically bigger, right? Bitcoin historically has continued to appreciate as an asset year over year over year. Unlike the dollar, which they just inflate straight to hell. It's just the whole inflation and the whole world economy situation. To be honest, it's very depressing. It's dire. And without going on a huge rant, my biggest gripe with all of this is, right, you do what they want you to do. You work your 9 to 5, you put your money in savings, and you sit there and you're all happy and you get like your 1% a year from your crappy bank. Okay, congrats, right? And then they keep inflating and inflating and inflating. And what the government is doing is they're quite literally stealing your vitality, because you are quite literally, again, trading your life, which is your time, your existence, for money. And then they continue to make that money less and less and less and less valuable while they operate in a huge deficit. But you can't do that, right? You're not allowed to operate at a deficit. You'd go to jail, you'd lose everything, whatever. I mean, think about it. It's the biggest scam in the history of ever. It's ridiculous. But bring it back to, say, better things. Let's look at the Bitcoin difficulty, right? So Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high in mining difficulty, right? Top of the mountain. Crazy, because it's not all-time high in price. Bitcoin would have to double to basically be at the previous all-time high. Yet we have tripled the all-time high in network difficulty from that point. Miners are getting more powerful finally. Miners are getting more efficient finally. That is pushing this up, but we're just quite seeing so much more participation in Bitcoin mining, especially on an industrial level. The more difficult it is to mine Bitcoin, with the same amount of Bitcoin miners, I'm mining less and less Bitcoin. And I think I got off track from what I was saying. But we bring it back to like, okay, so I made $175 each day, or about $1,225 in the last week with my Bitcoin mining. I'm hodling all this coin. I'm playing the long game here. And, I think we're going to get to a new all-time high. So if Bitcoin doubles in US dollar pricing, right, and I held all that coin, I didn't mine 175 of that. I mined 350. 350 times 7 is $2,450. Made over 100 grand, my Bitcoin mining operation. Obviously, there's a lot of cost, right? I mean, let's take the street value of these miners, right? So we've got $2,000 mining rigs. We got 18 of them. So that's 36 grand in miners. You're probably going to need like 10 grand in infrastructure. Easy. So let's just, let's put a low number there, because it's a big sliding scale. But round up, it's basically going to cost us like 50 grand to deploy this stuff. Depending on your electricity rate, you're going to have a huge variance in how much it actually costs to run your miners. So as a rule of thumb, I like to estimate a little bit high on some of my machines. Some of these machines, very true. With my tuning on the machines and my cost per kilowatt hour, let's say my average right now of tuned versus not tuned and my miner efficiency, it's costing me maybe like $7 a day to run each one. It cost me $126 to run my operation daily, right? So over the last week, it cost me probably like, nearly $900. So $1,225 seems crazy, but really I'm looking at more like $343 in my pocket, but still plus $343 is pretty sweet. I really like to focus on the fundamentals and not too much on the dollars and the day-to-day because I'm playing the long game here. It's been a bear market. I've been focusing on building, expanding, working through everything, just trying to have some fun, and really surviving and existing. Surviving is winning in a red market, in a bear market, and I think people forget that sometimes. If you build the operation now, I'm building my mining operation for pennies on the dollar for what people will do it for in the bull run. People will pay $10,000 per Bitcoin mining rig again, just like the previous bull run. Then maybe the newer machines, maybe the older machines will only be worth $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. The efficiency in the new machines definitely better, but it's not such a monumental jump that the S19s are just completely irrelevant. That's also why we've been pursuing a lot of liquid mining to further increase the longevity of these machines and above all, tune the efficiency. So one of the cool things I've recently added to the farm is going to be these Altair PDUs. They're very cool and they're very cheap, but they're very effective. And he said that these are actually inspired by our original mining shed build back in 2017 because I was using the bigger Triplite and APC PDUs, and there's just a bunch of wasted outlets. So he worked with a PDU manufacturer to bring these to market. Pretty freaking cool. And they even have a watt readout. They're in stock, they ship quick. I've been very impressed with them. Altair's been a very cool operation to work with, and they also have a crazy low price on the S19K Pro. I don't know how many they have and how long this will be an option there, but we've got a link down below and a coupon code to save a little bit on that too. And they're a great source for all kinds of Bitcoin parts. And to contrast that with ASIC Marketplace, one of the things that ASIC Marketplace does an incredible job of is all these different altcoin mining rigs, right? Like I've got an X5 in, it's been doing great so far. I've got a KS3M, that's my highest earning miner by very far. And one of the reasons you don't go and buy directly from Bitmain is because honestly, their direct to consumer pricing has been terrible over the last couple years. Look at the pricing on the same machine we just talked about from a couple of distributors. And if you don't have their coupon BS, and you have to spend a lot of money to utilize this coupon, it's total BS. It's them being shady like always. But the bottom line is you're going to go in there and you're going to pay $2,500 for this machine. Then you're going to pay a 30% tariff, okay, on importing this machine. TLDR, you're in for a bad time. But again, let's not understate the incredible out-of-the-box efficiency on this thing at 23 watts of terahash. It's been proven by third parties, including Altair. Did a test, and it's on my to-do list to kind of bring you guys more of the efficiency stuff in our testing, as opposed to just logging into, say, the firmware. So, you know, what's really cool is like when I log into Brains, right? It gives me a real-time readout of all kinds of data. So you can see this thing's pulling 2,200 watts, given the heat and the hash rate and everything, and where it decided to tune itself in their auto-tuning. It's mining at about 26 terahash. It's much better than the stock efficiency of around 30 watts terahash. So while it does reduce my hash rate, it also reduces my electricity bill, and I've got a pretty high one. The really cool thing about altcoin mining is just how well it supplements the Bitcoin mining operation as well. When we have, you know, some of the hot, lucrative miners, like the KS3M is a single mining device that consumes 3,400 watts. So let's just say it's comparable to one Bitcoin miner in footprint and power draw, and it's pulling over $70 a day, which is like 0.002 Bitcoin. And this is on NiceHash's pool that auto dumps these Caspa coins for BTC. So if you're BTC maxi, or that's just what you're focused on mining, this is an incredible outlet. What's really cool too about this is how few options there are to exchange Caspa. This does all that for you, making consult a professional, but your tax situation way easier, and getting into a coin you may just simply want over the other. But don't count Caspa out because it's already a top 50 coin and it's been gaining a lot of interest and a lot of momentum. One other thing I want to touch on before kind of closing this out is the exact mining profitability of the S19K Pro. That's been a big discussion. I can't understand. Like that's like the go-to miner right now, pre-halving, with the price, performance, everything. So I had it pulled to a different mining pool address, and they use PPS, so I get a very clear breakdown of the earnings. And this is what it earned, which is basically 25,000 Satoshis, equates to about $8.50 per day. After you pay your maybe 10 cent per kilowatt hour electricity bill, you're putting a couple bucks in your pocket of Bitcoin mined. Again, I think people kind of misunderstand that how competitive this stuff is. If you're in the green, even with this big bump we got, you're winning by far. Like it's hard. Bitcoin mining farms are built around and focused on, myself included, for mining towards the days when Bitcoin's trading at $100,000, right? That's not a dream. That's gonna happen. I assure you, I will be there for that. My question is, will you? So that's really the long and short, I guess, of Bitcoin mining over the last week, the real world mining earnings, how much Bitcoin I actually mined with those 18 miners, then looking at the S19K Pro and the week-long earnings on that device, network difficulty, miner prices, some places to get them, and everything in between. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, home of the CBO, the Chief Bitcoin Officer, Tails. We run 10 seconds of Tails on every video. Why? Because she's incredible and I love her. She also owns VoskCoin, so she makes us do that. But it's fine, we like her. We like our boss, so we don't mind. We're happy. In all seriousness though, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please comment with things that you want me to include on a video like this in the future. I'm also looking to compile my monthly Bitcoin mining earnings and some other data, kind of like our HDD mining farm snapshot. And I want to really kind of break down the hash rate, how much we're mining, network stats and stuff like that. I just think it's fun data. I'm a total nerd with this stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I'll talk forever because I love this stuff. If you're watching, love you too. See you later.